So there's this question about how humans learn from other individuals. Obviously, we're a species that's really good at cultural learning. We can learn from others, we have teaching and so on. But there's this question about whether or not there are any downsides to this. Are we negatively affected by the information that we get from others? This was a question that Frank Kyle and his colleagues tested at the Child Development Lab here at Yale. They tried to see whether or not kids would fall prey to the bad information that they got from others. So here's the task. You show children a person opening a puzzle box. But the key is that you open the puzzle box in somewhat of a dumb way. You add all these irrelevant steps. In the video, you can see Derek showing the child that there's this stick at the top of the puzzle box. It's totally irrelevant, but Derek takes all this time to move the stick out of the way and so on. The question is whether or not children will fall prey to that. And what we find is that kids painstakingly copy all the different steps of this action, even when those steps are irrelevant. More surprisingly, not only do they copy those steps, watching somebody solve the box in a dumb way seems to affect how the kids themselves understand how to solve the box. They seem to think about the box in a completely different way afterwards. This sort of behavior has been termed over-imitation. Humans sometimes imitate too much. And there's this question about whether or not humans are the only species that does that. One of the best species to look at is in fact the species that's literally in our own backyard, namely domesticated dogs. Anyone that has a dog knows that dogs are really prone to follow our cues. They're super interested in the kinds of things we do. Would they fall prey to the same bias? Would they show over-imitation? That was what we set out to test at the Canine Cognition Center at Yale. This is a new center at Yale that brings dogs from the community in to test how they problem solve and how they follow human cues. So we brought dogs into the center and we showed them a puzzle that was really similar to the one that human children had been tested on. We showed dogs a puzzle box that was transparent, they could see right inside, and it had a little red lid that could be lifted to get food. We also had a part that was completely irrelevant, this stick on the side that wasn't connected to anything. When dogs watched the person solve the puzzle, the person moved the stick around and spent a lot of time manipulating the stick, and then they lifted the lid. The question was, would this mess dogs up? So what we're finding is that it seems like dogs might have a better social filter than even humans have. Dogs can correctly take good information from humans, and they can ignore stuff that's irrelevant or unnecessary. In contrast, human children seem to take into account everything that they see a human agent do. And this suggests that we might not have as good of a filter as we expected. So this tells us something really important about how humans learn relative to other animals. We're really trusting of the information that we get from other individuals, even more trusting than dogs are. And what this means is we have to be really careful about the kinds of information we present ourselves with. We're not going to have the right filter for bad information, and so we should stick to looking at information that's going to be positive, information that's going to be good. We're much more affected than we think.